Crime is a fact of life. Most of us have, at one time or another, been affected by it. So it's important to be informed about crime in Ireland, and the news on television is a good way to do this. Orla O'Donnell is a legal affairs correspondent for RTE.
There's 3 bulletins on RTE at 1 o'clock, at 6:01 and at 9 o'clock. The most watched bulletins would be the 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock news, where hundreds of thousands of viewers tune in. You can also get news on TV3 and on TG Cahir, and 24-hour news if you want it on Sky News or some of the other digital channels.
Crime is a big component of the news, and it's reported in different ways.
Well, I suppose the main thing to remember about crime is it's newsworthy because it's unusual. The main way that reporters would report crime is you hear about something happening, you go to the scene, you would interview a senior Garda, you'd talk maybe to neighbours, find out what's happening. There's bigger events than others, for example, the disappearance of Robert Houlihan in Cork that led to a long search and captured public attention because it was such an unusual event, and the disappearance of a child. There's other types of stories, for example, the riots in Dublin earlier this year. It necessitated a load of reporters going down to the scene at different areas of Dublin and trying to find out what was going on. The major types of crime you would have, I suppose, gun-related crime. There seems to be more and more guns coming into the country, or people seem to find it easier to get their hands on guns. You have drugs-related crime, which again is probably related to gun-related crime, and 2 types of it. You've got people who are involved in gangs smuggling drugs and bringing them into the country, and who are trying to protect their drugs empire through the use of violence and guns. You'd also have a more low-level type of drug-related crime, where somebody who's an addict would steal someone's mobile phone or their wallet to pay for their habit. You'd have some white-collar crime, I suppose, and that would be white-collar crime is a term used for crime committed by people who may be in authority, people who are supposedly respected members of society. And again, that's something that might come out of the tribunals, where you have people who've been accused of tax evasion or of taking money in return for voting a certain way. You've got antisocial behaviour as well, which is not as bad but may have a very detrimental effect on people who live near where this kind of thing is happening, which is groups of people gathering, maybe drinking in public, maybe fighting, that kind of thing.
It is important for the media to have a good relationship with the Gardaí, and Garda Kevin O'Donoghue, as press officer for the Gardaí, provides that link. So how do they release their news to the media?
We release information to the media and news information in a number of ways. We do it electronically through email, so that's all TV and radio station, newsrooms, local papers, national papers, freelance journalists and so on. Occasionally then we would actually, as I said, visit a scene or manage the media locally, and then we'd send out a press release to the media saying that at a particular time at a particular station the press officer will brief the media and then take questions and try and satisfy their demands, but always conscious of the fact that we don't want to compromise our investigation in any shape or form.
There is also a huge media and general public interest in the release of Garda and crime statistics. It is also the press officer's role to deliver these.
Every 3 months we supply statistics to the Department of Justice, and the Minister for Justice releases them. Then every year we'd supply a full annual report from the Commissioner to the Minister. We have 6 regions in the country. One of them would be the Dublin Metropolitan Region, which is the kind of greater Dublin area, would be the busiest region in the country. About half of the crime occurs in Dublin. That's about 50,000 crimes a year, give or take. A 1% increase in the Dublin region results in an extra 500 crimes. Southern region, which is centred around Cork and Munster, the numbers of crimes down there may only be 15,000 for the year. So a 1% increase in the southern region is only 150 crimes.
If you get statistics from the Gardaí or wherever they come from about the number of crimes that have been committed, and there can sometimes be a perception that the crime rate is rising or the crime rate is falling. Usually the statistics will tell you that actually things aren't that much worse than they used to be, and so it kind of takes the hype out of the crime figures. It lets you know exactly what's going on. But it is worth being aware that these are unusual events, and sometimes people can feel afraid and feel that there's crime happening all around them, and usually there isn't. It's on the news because it's unusual and newsworthy and out of the ordinary.